world of Generation X. All right, Facebook is live over here. We've got YouTube right here. And then for the first time, we've got Instagram. Do this every Sunday night. I would love to say at 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's the goal. That's the idea. But I'm usually late more often than not working video. So we'll say 8-ish, 8 o'clock-ish every Sunday night around 9 p.m. And generally speaking, it's just Facebook and YouTube. But today we're going to give it a shot and see if we can get Instagram way over here to join in as well, where we just talk about all things Generation X. We talk about what happened this week in Gen X history. We talk about whatever you guys want. Yasutasos coming in from Greece, I would guess. Costa time. We'll be visiting Greece shortly. For those that don't know, in July, I'll be overseas in Greece for about 3 weeks. Let's see. YouTube is just jumping on now. Got a couple people over there. Facebook. Looks like there's a couple. Say hey when you're there. Okay, I see Stacy. I see Tammy. Joan, welcome. All right, we're getting there. We're beginning to pop on. What's going on, Record Hound over on YouTube? Patriotic Nurse over on Instagram. Mary, what's going on, guys? Great week. Glad to be home. For those that follow, I was in Dallas last week, and I tried to go live, but the hotel in Dallas, when I was at Fan Expo, wasn't really cooperating. Anybody that works at the Hilton, I got to tell you, hey, Teresa. Hey, Amy Speckman, Kristen Suave. JLC, CC Gore, hello, coming in on Goonies weekend in Astoria. Well, that's one of the things we're going to talk about today because it is absolutely Goonies weekend. But I tried very hard to go live last week. I missed it and I'm running a little late today, but I promise it'll be worth the wait because we've got a lot to talk about. Number one being just this, the Goonies. Dude, it's Goonie weekend because 40 years ago, is that even remotely possible? 40 years ago this week, the Goonies went live. How many of you went and saw it in the theater? How old were you? There's my buddy Andrew, Gen X Goonie. How old were you guys the first time you saw the Goonies? Did you see it in the theater? Did you see it later on? Joan Tamburakis, how are you? For me, I saw it a little later. I don't think I saw it in the theater. I'm trying to remember, but I was about 15 when it came out. I think I literally saw it maybe a little bit later, or more than likely, I did see it in the theater, but the small town I grew up in, Wolcott, New York, we had one of those theaters that was only a one theater town. If you wanted to go to a Cineplex, so to speak, and see where they had multiple movies, that was like 45 minutes away in neighboring Webster. And our theater got movies after. It was like $2, and they were generally about 3 or 4 months old. So that's probably where I saw it. Do you think the creators of the Goonies missed a heavy opportunity to make a part two? If they missed it, they're making up for it now. Kevin's saying he saw it at his cousin's house. Kristen saying she saw it in the theaters. Amanda says in the theater was 11. Julie in the theater. Susie was 13 at the time. But the Goonies is Gen X. I don't know if you guys saw it. There's a video I made yesterday. What's going on, Leah? The Goonies was more than a movie for us. Once we saw it, it was basically a diagnosis of Generation X. You had this group of kids who were anywhere from 12 to 16, right? Depending oldest to youngest, that were completely left alone. Mom was working. I don't remember where dad was, but they were absolutely latchkey kids. And there was no question about whether that was okay. What's going on, Delilah? There was no question about whether it was believable. This is the life a lot of us lived. We were left to our own devices at home with our friends, with our older brother maybe, and that was it. These kids literally found a map to treasure from a pirate and didn't think for a second to get an adult involved, let alone a parent. And that was believable. It was normal. Then what did they do? Well, we saw them all riding their bikes. Anything more Gen X than that? We saw them finding problems and finding solutions on their own. Anything more Gen X than that? We saw them counting on their friends to get them in and out of trouble. I mean, is there anything more Gen X than that? And what's getting worse? What is getting worse, Linda? I didn't see it. Anyway, at the end of the movie, they don't even get to keep the treasure. They succeed, and not only do they not get credit for it, but they have to leave the treasure behind. The very little bit they actually do get to keep, the maid, I think, finds and takes it from them. I mean, that's about as Gen X as it gets, right? They succeed and nobody knows it. Images getting highly pixelated over on YouTube. Not sure why, guys. How do we look on Facebook? How do we look over on Instagram? What's going on, Sheila? What's going on, Brian K? Let's see how we're looking. Pixelated a lot. Well, YouTube is carrying the bulk, but yeah, I mean, I can't control. Looking great on Facebook. If you guys follow there, it looks like things look good on Facebook. I'm not. It looks like looking good on Instagram too. So I guess Meta's got me flying at 4K, and YouTube's got me looking like all of a dial-up modem. So I'm sorry. What's going on, Maddie? Good to see you, buddy. Hopefully you can still hear me. Frank coming in from Chickamauga in New York. Good on Facebook. Got on late. It's okay. I got on late too. But what's going on? Nice to see my boomer fan, Mr. Nobody, Jonathan. Hey, hey, hey. Paul C. But I mean, that was us. The Goonies did a really, really good job of representing what we were and who we were. And now the amazing thing is our kids and grandkids can see it 40 years later, and we can point to and say this is what it was like. Maybe not so much the maid found it and saved the town. So again, Gen X solved the problem but got none of the credit. But we can point to our kids to this movie and say this is what it was like when we were growing up. That was the coolest thing. Now add to it the fact that we're probably the last generation that can actually read a map. So if we found a Goonies level pirate map to treasure, we're probably the only generation left that can unfold the map, look at it, read it, decipher it, follow it, and then put it back in the glove box. Yeah, Life, somebody said that the picture on YouTube not so great, so I apologize. Christopher, hello. Have I been to the movie locations? I'm watching from Argentina. I have not been. I wanted to go out to Oregon to make it to the Goondocks this year for the anniversary, but there was just no way for me to get there. Not this year, not with just getting back from Dallas and heading to Greece with my family to visit family in about a month. Bernadine says, hey, from Texas, good to have you back. Wanted to leave the ship and go on the next adventure. Keith saying late boomer here. I grew up as Gen X. Debbie reminding us of the picture on Facebook looking good. Gene asked, what do you think the best representation of Gen X as young adults? That's a really good question. I mean, the penultimate one when I was growing up was Reality Bites. For me, that was, can't refold the map though. Reality Bites is a movie when we moved on from the Goonies and we're in our early 20s, that resonated with me because I didn't know what I wanted to do. My parents had certain expectations. Life wasn't allowing me to follow those expectations. The jobs that we thought would exist didn't really materialize. Did I get to go to South Fork? No, Cindy, I didn't have a car and it was a little far to Uber. So all things being equal, I think that's a good representation. I think Ethan Hawke did a really good job. Clerks, that works. Mallrats, that works. Breakfast Club defined us in the 80s. Yeah, in terms of a high school experience, I would say Breakfast Club did a pretty good job. Born 1977, they can't remake 80s movies, says Simon. They can, they shouldn't. Carlos asked my favorite couple would definitely be Sam and Rebecca instead of Sam and Diane. I wasn't a big Diane fan. Valley Girl, not so sure about that. Rapid Fire Game says the Goonies, License to Drive, Weird Science, anything John Hughes. Agreed. Justin K. Eagle saying what's up from Georgia. American Pie defined the young Gen Xers in the 90s. I just think like the thing about Reality Bites that makes sense is that was, and I'll tell you what, TV show, I think in a sense, Friends did a pretty good job of it too. Maybe not the being able to afford to live in luxury apartments in New York City thing, but in terms of moving on from our families, not yet getting married and creating our own families, but having our friends become our family units. I definitely experienced that in the 90s. I definitely experienced that in my 20s. There was definitely a group of friends that I had that felt friend-esque. You know, we'd go to work, we'd come home, and even if we just did nothing but find each other and just chill in our apartments, play Sega hockey, go out. We did a lot more bar hopping that they did on Friends, but that fit for me. Sweet Valley High, Valley Girl, a baby Gen Xer. Hi, Sweet Caroline. That makes kind of sense. I see life moved over to Instagram. Hope things are clear there for you, buddy. We made our own fun, which is basically illegal, says Grady. I'll tell you what, early on, our fun wasn't illegal, but it would be today. The question I get asked, and I'm actually working on a video right now, more than maybe any other, is if we loved our childhood so much, and I think most of us did. Maybe we didn't love all of our childhood. Maybe we didn't love all parts of it. I don't think anybody does. But we, as a generation, for the most part, will look back and see that we really enjoyed the era that we grew up. And that being said, why? Why didn't we raise our kids exactly the same way we were raised? And I say two reasons all the time. Number one, laws. There's that legality to it. That's number one. And then number two is we know better. We know what's going on in the world that makes it dangerous to do that. So although it would be nice to be able to do more of that, but just not possible. Simon says your stuff is cool. We played in the dirt. We stayed out until dark. And now it's summer, so we stayed out past dark. Some of my favorite times growing up was staying outside way, way, way after any streetlights might have come on, if there had been some. I grew up in a small town. Streetlights weren't really a thing. Linda says, glad to see you're wearing the Goonies shirt you found at Goodwill. Big win between that and Airplane. Yep, this was part of a Goodwill contest. And I found and purchased this. It's also available in my merch store if you want one just like it. Too much tech now? Miranda, our parents said the same thing regarding TV. You know, the boob tube was supposed to ruin everything, and maybe it did. But I think technology can be moderated. I like to think I did a pretty good job with my kids, and I love tech when it works. Speaking of which, how's YouTube behaving now, guys? We get any better over there, or am I still super pixelated? Thank you, Canetta. Wearing the shirt for Goonies weekend. Small town in California, we always found something to do. Wimberly tried to cheat with the boombox, Linda says. So I've got a video, still pixelated, huh? I'm sorry. I've got a video out on most platforms, if not all, where we had a Goodwill thrift store throwdown. And we had a certain amount of time to go in and see who could spend, what was it, $30 and get the most good Gen X stuff out of it. And I won. I crushed it. So that's what we're talking about. This shirt was one of those. Bill says, I think technology is great. I just think there needs to be a happy medium. Simon asked if I'd watch a Goonies 2. I would. I watched Maverick, and I'm glad they updated it. I just think it needs to be done well. It needs to be respectful to the original. It needs to use the original cast, and it needs to stay true to it. And if it can do that, yeah, I'll watch it. Not saying I preferred it. Father was a Vietnam man. Instagram scrolling really quickly right now. I heard today that they're making a new Smurfs movie next year. Well, more power to them. That doesn't bother me so much. Matt Barkey, dude. Matt Barkey and I are friends going way, way back. Matt Barkey is one of those friends. Did you ever go to, if not band camp, then some sort of an event, some sort of scholarship conference or whatever it was? It could have been a wrestling tournament. It could have been anything. Well, Matt Barkey for me was a buddy I met at American Legion Boys State. Shit, Matt, how long ago? Almost 40 years ago? 38 years ago? Insane. And still are in touch. Nathaniel says, hey, John, just popped in to say hi. My Walking Dead City is coming on soon. Cool. But we made friends like that. I remember making girls friends. I went to what was it, the Hugh O'Brien Youth Leadership Conference. And I met this girl named Melanie, and we got along really well. And there was no, hey, give me your snap. There was no, can I text you? There was no, give me your phone number. Because honestly, if you called the house, you'd have to talk to her dad and explain why you would have the right to call her after just meeting her for like a weekend. So basically, the only thing we could do is promise to stay in touch and write. And I remember this girl, Melanie from Colony, New York, promised that she was going to stay in touch. And she did. She wrote like 2 letters, and I never wrote back. So that's kind of sad. If I ever get big enough on here that I become a common name, I'm afraid Melanie's going to have some things to say to me. Oh, something just dinged on Facebook. Looks like Julie Dotson Schaefer Pierce just sent 50 stars. I am mostly raising mine the same, except she wears a tracker while she and her 8 kids in the neighborhood bike around and build ramps. Well, I think that's a good use of technology. We use Life 360 on our kids because it gives us a little bit of peace of mind when we send them out into this world that we know is dangerous. What's going on, Jeremy Sellers? Man, he called me a heartbreaker. Yeah, well, maybe in that specific instance, a little teeny tiny bit. But honestly, it was like a chore to write to somebody. Girls seem to be better at it than us guys were. Just didn't happen. Edward Duck says, don't know my own cell number, but I still remember my friends' numbers from grade school. I remember my home phone number. I remember my dad's work number, the diner phone number. I remember all my friends' parents' numbers. Yeah, that's stuck in my head. I'd like to get that mental bandwidth back. Kevin's watching Chariots of Fire right now. Never saw it, but I know the song. Bill Bender says, I know this may offend some. I better read before I read out loud. Most of the shows were trying to teach us to be moral. Not all the shows, Bill Bender. I just posted a video of a Saturday night movie on CBS that I promise you wasn't doing either of those things. Do kids do Boy and Girl Scout or 4-H? Christopher remembers the party line. Summer camp stayed in touch a year at best. Choppy over on Instagram. Instagram's threatening to kick out, so I'm going to probably have to let that one go. If you guys want to follow, jump over to Facebook or YouTube. Looks like I'm just having a little bit of issues tonight with tech, and I've got my internet feed is showing strong, so I don't know what that is. But if you're on Instagram and you want to see the rest of this, jump over. What's going on? Back in Time Radio? Long time no see, buddy. Jump over to Facebook or YouTube, and I will see you there. All right. Dominic says, what the hell? This sucks. I click on what should be a fight, click on once again, and I see, well, I don't know what the hell that is, but see you, Dominic. You know, I love people that can't just scroll. I mean, if that's not the strongest, my friend Dominic there, if you are not the most if you're not the definite definition of the weakest Gen Xer out there, if you have to jump on and leave a comment to draw attention to yourself on something you don't like, rather than just change the channel the way we grew up changing the channel, then if anything weak, buddy, it's you, not me. So there's that. I do have storms in the area. That could possibly be it. Let me know if YouTube starts getting a little better. Cindy, hello. All right, Dominic. I'm seeing your Facebook picture, my friend. You're not somebody that should be talking, buddy. I mean, honestly, you may want to put up a picture of a pet instead. Anything but that mug. So, yeah. What's going on, Jennifer? Thank you again for the stars. Appreciate you. Dropping IG cleared up YouTube. Well, that's good. YouTube chat is prematurely aging me. Well, that's good. That just means that UFC likes me that much. How cool is that? Thank you, Dominic Del Vecchio. Again, just maybe put up a pet, a dog, cat, anything good. That'll just work just fine. You're welcome, Mystery. Thank you for the happy memories. Dude, it's all of our memories. And that's the coolest thing about all of this is anything I share. Oh, by the way, Dominic, say hi to your mom for me. Anything I share, without a doubt, 9 times out of 10, people are immediately coming to the page and saying, my God, I remember it the same way. There's very little that I share that most people don't see equally relatable. And that's not commentary on my content, it's commentary on the way we grew up. We didn't have internet, we didn't have social media, we didn't even really have television to push across. And yet we all shared so many of the same things. What's going on, Stephen? Hello, Don. YouTube is much better now. Well, that's cool. Appreciate you, Professor. Thank you. Let's talk Goonies. Well, we started. We can always jump back to Goonies, Bill DeMarco. I just think the Goonies, as I said earlier, is just the best representation of what it was like for us being kids. Thanks for saying my last name right. Well, your mom told me how to say it, so I can't take all the credit. Messing with you, Dominic. Kind of like I messed with your mom last night. 100% improvement over on YouTube. Nice. I absolutely remember so much of what you talk about. Everybody does. I can even do like the silliest of things. Like when we'd put our foot in, right? To talk to say who was it during our games. We would engine number 9 going down Chicago line if the train falls off the track. Who taught us those things? That we all know them. Who taught us Inca Binka bottle of ink, cap fell off and you do stink? Those are just little teeny tiny representations of it going, dude, love you, man. All joking aside. It's like I loved your mother last night. I should get off your mother, literally. We all grew up the same way. And I'm having a little bit of fun with Dominic right now. No worries. I mean, dude, it's all good and it's all jokes, but that's what we did to each other. That's what they do in the Goonies. They absolutely shred each other left and right. Chunk can't even come into the house without embarrassing himself. You know, he has to sit out there and do the truffle shuffle before Mouth lets him in. And, you know, that could be viewed as bullying, but it was what it was. It's just the way things were, and it made us tough. And it made us really appreciate each other, I think. And I personally took it as a term of endearment. If somebody took the time to burn me, to roast me, to have fun of me that way, that made me kind of like, almost like be more endeared to them. Donna Griffin, OGV is awesome. Jacqueline Williams, I love her generation. I think we're the most creative generation ever. Jacqueline, thank you so much for the donation over on YouTube. Appreciate you, hon. Yeah, we were. We had to be creative. I don't know if we're the most creative, but definitely very creative. Matt says, passed down from our older brothers and sisters and friends. Yeah, dude, my older brothers' friends destroyed me. And when they did, that totally made me feel good because I was seen, as kids would say today. The fact that they were mocking me was like, I was like, oh my God, they're paying attention to me. It made me feel like one of the gang. Pink belly, purple nurple, wedgie. We're fucking around. I'm not being bullied. Anybody who thinks that is being Dominic, I totally get it, dude. It's all good, dude. If we didn't like it, if somebody said something to us that really pissed us off, we made it known that it pissed us off. If a line got crossed, we let them know that a line got crossed, and we figured it out. Sometimes physically, but it did something, and then the bullying ended. The bullying ended when the bullying ended. If we got bullied, we dealt with it or we put up with it. I'm not saying it was good, nor am I saying that I'm not judging it. It's just the way it was. But the good news about when we were kids is that when it was over, it was over. We went home. We went into our home. We went into our space, and it was done. Today, kids go after each other over and over and over again online. These keyboard warriors. And I'm glad I don't see a lot of it from our generation. Dominic and I were having some fun here, but very rarely do I see somebody actually come after me online. It is so much the minority. And I think that's generational. I think that says a lot about us. If people don't like what I put out there, and I'm sure there's many that don't, nobody is for everybody. But if I see something I don't like, I change the channel. That is something intrinsically us. Here's an example. Simon, I love that. We never sat in our parents' chairs. I sat on the floor. The best example is we can tell a song by the first three beats, sometimes by the first beat, because if we didn't like it, we instantly changed the channel upon recognition. We recognized what song was coming on the radio the second it started, and we changed the channel if we didn't like it, or we learned to just deal with it. If maybe there was nothing else that was going to be better, then we learned to appreciate Kenny Rogers, even if we didn't like country. We learned to appreciate that Metallica song, even if we didn't necessarily like hard rock. We learned to suffer through Madonna's Vogue, even if we didn't like poppy, popular music. We just dealt with it. And that's why everybody in both chats, the hundreds of people watching, and later on across this, when it becomes thousands, everybody will know Madonna's Vogue or Material Girl or Like a Virgin upon beat. Everybody will know a Metallica song, Islands in the Stream, Iron Maiden. We just had such eclectic tastes because of what we were exposed to. Purple says I can name it in 2 notes. RF agrees we had the best music as ever. I thought I was going to see a UFC clue, and I see a dude I love, so I started hating. Appreciate it, brother. I can name that tune in 1 note, says Bernadine. My taste in music is extremely random. Dude, so is mine. It can be across the board. And things I hated back in the 80s and 90s, strangely now, some of it, because of nostalgia maybe, maybe now I have an appreciation for it. I hated country growing up. Hated it. Hated it with a passion. But my mom loved it. My mom loved Rhinestone Cowboy by Glenn Campbell or The Gambler by Kenny Rogers, some Dolly Parton. I hated that stuff. But now if I hear John Denver's Country Roads come on, I'm instantly reminded of my mother when she was younger. And it just, I feel it in my heart. What's going on, Katie? I'm doing well, thank you. How are you? That's true, Brian. Today's music, period, is not what it was. A lot of music from the 80s and 90s. Yeah, Joan, we would push record. We would push play and record together, right? Only way we made it work. What's going on, Kimberly? How are you, Travis? Live to Tell by Madonna, As Soon as I Hear It. Simon and Garfunkel. All these. Parents banging on the ceiling with a broom, turn off the noise. I don't know about you guys. I didn't really have headphones growing up now that you mentioned the noise. So my parents did complain about the noise. The only headphones I had was like the little foam covered headphones for my Walkman. And I didn't even originally have like a Sony Walkman tape deck player. I had the Sony Walkman FM radio. Dude, this is weird. I hated country music growing up as well because that's what my parents listened to, couldn't stand it. However, now I can deal with it. I think nostalgia comes into play, and nostalgia is powerful. Yeah, Jacqueline, YouTube is going in and out of blurriness. I apologize for that. Best song ever, says Donna, the theme to The Greatest American Hero. I just did a couple of theme show contests, challenges. If you haven't seen the videos, there's 2 of them. See if you can name these top 10 songs from shows we grew up watching. You had a Teddy Ruxpin to listen to the tape. Cindy says Paradise by Dashboard Light was one more. And yeah, that one I heard a lot in the 90s when my brother had a bar. They played it on the jukebox constantly, and I've got it memorized. Dana, I did eventually get the cool yellow Walkman. Wife is listening to Goonies Are Good Enough by Cyndi Lauper. I just made a video where I used that little clip at the end. Zelda music drove my mom crazy. Good, Jody. How are you doing? Can an 81 be Gen X? I've never felt like a millennial. You know, sociologists at some point set these generational divides. I don't know. I'm not the gatekeeper. I think technically you could be a millennial. You could be a zennial, which is kind of a micro generation that they've created. Dude, at the end of the day, we were never much about labeling ourselves. I think we fought really hard to dislabel the world and around us. And then ironically, our kids love labels, not judging, but they are getting really good at completely and totally creating little labels for themselves. Just not our thing. So if you feel Gen X and you were born or raised that way, have at it. Labels were the enemy, especially when they were put on our songs, on our records. We didn't like them there either. Anne Murray was on at the grocery store. My mother loved Anne Murray. Born in 83, feel more Gen X, a millennial. Had it then. What did I think of Orlando, Florida when I was here? I love Orlando to visit. We actually tried living outside of Tampa. Wasn't really big on Florida as a place to live, but I enjoyed visiting, and I'll probably be back next year for MegaCon again. Dallas was pretty cool. I will say that. First time ever in the city of Dallas. Was trying to find, anything that was kind of like Dallas from the show growing up. And ironically, the hotel I was staying in was right next to the building that they used for the outside shots of Ewing Oil. And I had no idea until I looked it up. Zennial's cool with me. Me too. Anyone born later who feels Gen X was raised right. That works. Some of my best memories are hose water and riding the dad's pickup truck. Pickup truck was cool because there were built-in seats that determined, hey, Sandy, coming in from Pittsburgh, might try to get out your way for Steel City Con in August. Looks like a bunch of the Full House people are going to be on there. Maybe Dukes of Hazzard, a couple things. I might try to make it out that way. My daughter was born in 88 and feels more like Gen X. Who shot JR again? It was Sue Ellen's sister. Sue Ellen's sister. Oh my God, the name is escaping me right now. It'll come to me. Kristen. Oh yeah, the back of the pickup truck, you had a hierarchy. Like if you got a wheel well or whatever you called it, the bump over the wheel, that meant you're pretty alpha to get that because that was like a built-in seat. Also, if you got to go all the way back against the window, that was a built-in seat. John, have you ever thought of touring with Gen X crew, Slim Sharing crew? Not so much. I mean, that's their thing. It's not within my, I don't know, I couldn't if I wanted to. That's their thing. The four of them set that up. That's the thing that they do. And it's great. I think they're doing an awesome job. I'm having a good time going to these different conventions because I think that's an opportunity to meet you guys one-on-one. I've met a ton of you. I love sitting in on panels. I've got to sit in on a panel of Back to the Future and see Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd and all of the crew, which was amazing. I got to meet and see most of the Breakfast Club at these things. I get to see you guys meeting them. I even got to ask some questions. I got to ask a question at the Smallville panel because they're all Gen Xers. So I got to ask them what it was like playing characters that they watched as kids. Tom Welling is 48, 49 years old, believe it or not. I'm like, what was it like being a kid watching Christopher Reeve and then you playing Clark Kent? What was it like for Michael Rosenbaum, who's 52, to play Lex Luthor after watching Gene Hackman do it as a kid? And that was a really cool question, and it was really fun to watch them answer it. Yeah, most of them are almost 50, and it's amazing watching us age into our 50s now, and the people that were Gen X as kids on TV doing it as well. Come up to Canada? I definitely will, Louise. I have cousins in Toronto that I would like to visit, and when I do, I'll make sure to shoot up and try to maybe even catch the Toronto Comic-Con one of these years. But yeah, comic book conventions have turned into pop culture conventions where you can go and meet so many of the people. Now, the distinction is, please understand one thing, and I'm going to be saying this a lot coming up to SteelCon because there are a couple people at SteelCon that I want to meet. Not because of who they are today, but because of who they represented when I was a kid. John Schneider, who was Bo Duke, and Lane from Lane Say Anything, John Cusack. So John Schneider and John Cusack happen to be, take care, Teresa, love you, sweetheart, completely different levels Jennifer Clark, thank you so much. I'll do my best to get out there. These guys are very political and are on opposite sides of the spectrum. When I take a picture with one of them or talk to them about what it was like back in the 80s, making iconic movies like Say Anything or, dodging the paper boy when they wanted his $2, that's not because of who he is today. It's because of what he represents in my memories. Same thing with Bo Duke. It's not John Schneider I'm interested in seeing. It's revisiting my memories. So make sure you can make that distinction. I won't sacrifice my memories and the opportunities to relive them based on who it is that represents those memories, if that makes any sense. Someone mentioned skating rinks. Do you know Buffalo's own David Goggins, whose dad owned the... I do not. But I lived not too far from West Ferry. I lived on Delaware and Bryant. Ian says, why do I have so much MD 2020? Didn't you learn? Dude, it keeps getting sent to me. Keeps getting sent to me. Sandy, I think that's awesome. Yeah, I love Better Off Dead. I don't care politically what the actors that were in these... If politics mattered to me, most of these actors, actresses, actors are going to have a political belief one side or the other. I'm not willing to just bite my nose to spite my face. I keep my beliefs to myself. I don't really have... I'm Gen X enough to just do what I do and move on. Do I own any records? I do own a few records. I've lost most of them over the years, Simon, but Rhino Records just reached out to me. They are going to do a collaboration where they start sending out to me records that they're re-releasing, so you'll see more of those. Lori says, John Schneider, I met him a few years ago. He came to thank us for cleaning up after a hurricane that he lived near. I mean, like anyone else, I think they've got good sides and they've got bad sides. There's good stuff about them and bad stuff about them. I met Dean Cain from Superman, Lois, and Clark. Really nice guy. Dude, he was so kind. He was so cool. He was so nice. And after I took a picture, Record Hound, I would love that, brother. After I met him and posted his picture, people just started slamming, saying all kinds of things about him and me. Listen, it's not about the politics. It's about the memories. That's all. I like the taste of Mad Dog. No complaints here. Still have a Captain and Tennille album. I remember the show. I was really young. Happy birthday, Sheila. I met Tom Wopat 25 years ago. That's cool. Am I a person who loves to drive a lot? I enjoy driving. I keep feeling like I'm getting to the age where night driving is becoming difficult. I don't know why, but if somebody asked about Orlando, I drove to Orlando at night, and y'all have all those bright like neon signs and stuff. It was hard for my eyes to adjust at night, so I'm wondering if that's an age thing. How large was my cassette collection? I had a mad, fat, wicked, cool, totally tubularistic, rad record tape collection. And I displayed my tapes and cassettes. They were set apart and organized based with sometimes I'd have them alphabetical, then I would take that apart and put them by genre, and I would do all of that. Simon, your words right there, buddy. Memories, no politics. It's just, I'll talk about politics as they are part of our pop culture. I've got a Reagan Bush shirt, 84, that I wear. And I've got a Clinton Gore shirt, 92, that I wear. Dude, both of those were the Monica Lewinsky Clinton years. That's political, but it's also pop culture. Nancy Reagan, just say no. Political maybe, but pop culture for sure. So I'll touch on that kind of stuff. Celebration, Florida. Here, our roads are lit like garbage. Makes it very hard for me to drive. Got to meet Eric Estrada from Chips a few years ago. I'd like to meet the Chips dudes. Does anyone remember Skip Stevenson and the show he and Kathy Crosby were on? I don't remember that. I remember Kathy lived... Oh, wait, Skip Stevenson. Was that, Bill, was That's Incredible? There were three. It was Kathy Lee Crosby. Wasn't Skip Stevenson. I'm thinking of a different show. Real People, I remember. Okay, I get it. I do remember it a little. Hard to drive at night. Yeah, especially when raining. Yeah, Edward. Does anybody try the glasses? Do what we used to call boomer night vision glasses? Do those help? Maybe I'll buy a pair. John Davidson. Yep, That's Incredible. And Fran Tarkenton. Dude, I can't believe I remembered that. Yeah, John Davidson, Fran Tarkenton, and Kathy Lee Crosby. That's incredible. What's going on, Deb? Years ago, I met the town drunk from Andy Griffith. Okay. This is my brain on toast. Guys, thank you so much. I see people giving stars over on Facebook. I see people starting to subscribe. Subscribe on Facebook does carry a 99 cents a month charge. Just make sure you guys are watching that. I saw Willie Brown became a follower. Renee, thank you for following. Vince, thank you for following. Claire, but some people are actually subscribing, which I think is awesome and I appreciate it. Just want to make sure you understand that there's a 99 cents fee that goes just to help support the page. It does give you access to our private Facebook group, though, which is a pretty cool thing. So you can go to the front of my Facebook page and join the subscription that way if you want to. And in terms of YouTube, guys, those of you that are supporting with memberships and most importantly, super chats, thank you so, so much. Gotti, thank you for subscribing over on YouTube. Appreciate you. Renetta Dell, thank you so much for subscribing. I see you and I appreciate it. Andrew Bradford, if you see him over on Facebook, also runs a private Facebook group that actually takes the title of our show, Wonderful World of Gen X, and he shares a lot of my content there as well. So you guys can click on his name and click through from there. The clicker, clap on, clap off. Deb's turning 60 next month. Dude, one of our more elder Gen Xers. Let's see. Jillian says, I showed my daughter what a sniglet was from Not Necessarily the News. Gary Gnu. I drive for a living and I put yellow tinted overlays on glasses to help with the glare. I'm going to have to do something, I think. Zoomer's trying to bring back some of our fashion styles. I love it. I just think it's hilarious. The 70s era dirt stash, the 80s dirt stash that these kids are sporting is hilarious. Then you've got Benson Boone. Is that his name? There's this dude who's actually a very talented young singer. I saw him when I was covering the Charlotte Music Festival. Dude, he is trying so hard to replicate a Queen vibe. It is almost embarrassing. He is doing everything he possibly can to come across that way. And I think it's fun. It's laughable because there'll only be one Freddie Mercury. That's not something you want to try to emulate. But if you look at the guy, you'll see instantly that's what he's got going on. And I appreciate the fact that it's obvious that he knows who Freddie Mercury was. But yeah, that's one you leave alone. I agree. Benson Boone is a little cringe. Really talented. And I love the stuff he's doing. Some of his music is way throwback and it's pretty cool. Just be yourself, though, because that's Freddie, man. Good evening, Ian. Good evening, Angela. Good that they finally caught us live. You'll notice that I'm going on a little later, more towards 8:30, because I've been told the West Coast is having a hard time getting on. So that's why we were a little late. Next Sunday is Father's Day. Will you be going live? Best answer I can give you, Tammy, is I'm not sure. It depends on what the family's got planned for me. I don't know. Jennifer Clark, Marciel, thank you so much for subscribing. You'll be able to see the Facebook group momentarily that you have access to. Please, if those of you that are in that private Facebook group, Mr. Blackstar, what's up, buddy? Please, you guys post in there. I love seeing what you put on there. Do I think kids get too much technology now? Yeah. No question about it. It's too much. And it's not the technology that's the problem. Kids, if you've ever gone camping, this is the best analogy I can give you. If you've ever gone camping and you're a city kid and you look up at the sky, the lack of light pollution, being able to see the sky clearly for the first time, city kids will be amazed at what's up over their heads, that's been up over their heads their entire lives. But you need to take away that light in order to see it. Social media, the internet, all that stuff is not light. It's noise. We can't see the stars through it, and neither can the kids. They can't hear or see through the noise. It's too much. And I think we have to help kids block it out. We had a half hour of news every day. That was it. Walter Cronkite, Dan Rather came at us for about 30 minutes a day, and we suffered through it, and our parents watched it, but that's all you got of the outside world. Deb, I love your posts on our page. Keep it up. Kids are getting just too much from every direction. And it's not the technology as much as it is what the technology is pushing at them. Becky Jo Hughes, thank you for becoming a follower. Philippe, thank you so much for subscribing. Appreciate you, man. You'd be surprised, guys. That little 99 cents, that less than a Starbucks coffee every month makes a huge difference. And if you guys have husbands or dads in your lives, if you are a dad and you want something, check out my genxjono.dashery.com. That's my merch store, and wearable memories. All the shirts that you see me wear are there. Makes a great gift. What's going on from Spartanburg, South Carolina? Not far. When I showed people talking about walking, yeah, these Gen Zers, the Zoomers, have discovered silent walking. But it's a good thing for them. But the problem isn't that they've discovered walking without headphones on, walking without AirPods on. The problem is they have to build up to 20 minutes. They're not able to be alone with their own thoughts. Deb, I saw that bill, right? They're not able to be alone with their own thoughts for more. Night, Maddie. I'll talk to you soon, brother. Do an extra good job for me. They're building up to 20 minutes of silent walking a week or a day. Sorry, 20 minutes of silent walking a day, but they're building up to it because it's their words triggering to be alone. I saw that, Andrew. I hope you love it, man. Triggering to be alone with their own thoughts for 20 minutes at a time. It's triggering to not have that intrusion from the world because their own thoughts are too much for them to handle. That's a problem. I'm not making fun of that. That's legitimately, literally, absolutely a problem. That's not good. Yes, we called that walking. That's all it was. We also called it riding our bikes. How many times, once in a while I would take a radio with me on my bike. Rob, thank you so much. Appreciate that $2. I've been waiting for it all day. Where's my $2? I want my $2. Everybody on YouTube, give me $2. My favorite bike rides were with my friends, without a doubt. Yes, the Atari works. But second, in a close second, to riding my bikes with my friends, second to that, hey, Mr. Blackstar, there's one down, was riding my bike alone. Maybe this was just me. I loved when I would get off on my bike and I would go outside looking for my friends and not finding them. And then invariably I would end up just riding my bike alone and taking lefts and rights and lefts and rights. Not really, there we go, Wirehead. Not really knowing where I was going. Thank you, Renetta. Dude, James shorting me the penny. That is iconic. Exploring my neighborhood, my area, going a mile, 2 miles from home, all by myself. And we thought about everything. Did anybody else do that? Is that a normal thing? Just alone. I get the going out with your friends thing. We did that all the time. How many of you, because that's my favorite line, appreciate it. 2 more from Rob. Rob is a huge contributor to the page. Dude, I appreciate you so much. Debbie says, that's what I did on my bikes. I didn't care where I went. It was a big deal for me. I discovered if I'm not very learning about myself kind of guy. I'm not I need to find myself kind of guy. I stuff my feelings down except for my kids stuff. When it comes to my wife and my kids, they know how I feel. I love them loudly, often, the whole 9 yards. But growing up and stuff, appreciate it, John. I'm not I need to find myself kind of guy. But if I did, that's when I found myself. Just riding around on my bicycle all by myself with those thoughts in my head. I don't think kids do that anymore. I know I didn't let my daughter do it. My daughter said, I want to go for a bike ride. I'm like, who are you going with? And she's like, nobody, I'm just going to go by myself. And I'm like, a 9-year-old girl by herself riding her bike 2 miles from home? Absolutely not. And I stand by that decision because it's the right decision. Hey, hot chick, or at least it was for me as a dad. But every good decision has unintended consequences. And us keeping our kids safe from being alone out there on the roads far from home has an unintended consequence. Ian Peterson, thank you for subscribing, buddy. Steve Prince, thank you for following. Becky Joe, thank you for following. The world is different now. Ernestine, thank you for the $2. Appreciate you guys. Somehow we've made it just at 38 bucks, $2 at a time. You guys, as I travel more and more, I don't want to downplay it, and I don't want to. I appreciate it. When you guys help support me that way, it does make a huge difference on what I'm able to do, where I'm able to go. Deb says you have beautiful girls, keep them safe, and we do. We do much safer than our parents did. The world is safer today, actually, than it was when we were growing up because of what we experienced growing up. No, Jose. No way, Jose. Jose, actually, statistics, and this is important, bear out that the 80s were a lot more dangerous than today. There was more violent crime. There were more instances of abductions, both child and otherwise. There were more murders. There was more theft. Think about where prevention is gone. There's a Ring camera on nearly every doorbell. There's Amber Alerts. We have news coming at us 24/7. We have more police. We have more of it's a much safer world today, but the dangers that exist today, we are very aware of. We were not aware of these dangers growing up. So it is what it is. That's why, I mean, we had so many serial killers without a doubt. That's it right there. I want my $2. I can relate, says Funky Bottoms was a paper boy. The world is safer today, but we know of the dangers. And so we operate out of fear, as MC says. Brian says we had milk carton alerts. Yeah. I mean, we had so many children abducted, we didn't know what to do, didn't have the technology to do anything, so they threw them on milk cartons. Now, most of those were abductions by family members. That's important to the vast majority, over 60% of those, I think the statistic says, was that those kids were abducted by family members. But still, family's doing great, Samuel. Thank you for asking. Divario says, I walked alone with nobody else. 80s were serial killers' playgrounds. They could get away with so much. Think of a world with no cameras around, nothing, no DNA to catch them after the fact. What's going on, Travis? Yeah, it was a playground, and we just slowly unsolved mysteries, and Adam Walsh being abducted made us all figure out what was going on. But I survived. I love Dogma. If you're talking about the Clerks, Mallrats movie, Dogma. If not, then no, I haven't seen it. I'm glad I grew up when I grew up. But that said, I'm glad I survived when I grew up. Yeah, I love Dogma. I loved all of those movies. Chasing Amy. The clerk from Clerks, his name escapes me. The actor who played Dante, the guy who played Dante follows me over on Instagram, which I think is ridiculously cool. Yeah, Dante follows me. How cool is that? I remember being fingerprinted in grade school, says Joan. Hey, Jeffrey, what's going on, brother? Jeffrey R. Thomas over on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. The infamous coming in on planet Earth. If you guys want more Gen X content, click that name, follow that name. The dude is my dude. Jeffrey, I need you to do same tongue twisters that me and Gina did. Let's see it, brother. James says, met all those guys over at MegaCon. I'm excited to see what you have planned tomorrow night with Chris and Shell. I've got a great one planned for tomorrow night. So what they're referring to is we do our 3-View Mirror show every Monday night at 9 p.m. And I am the host over on YouTube tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So I've got 3 topics. If you guys, thank you, Vern. Appreciate the stars. Brian O'Halloran, that is exactly his name, Edward Duck. Thank you. No, I'm not going to give you a preview. I was going to give you guys the 3 topics, but I'm going to wait. I promise you it's cool. I've got 3 topics planned. They were provided me by a follower. One of my followers emailed me and gave me the concept for the 3 topics. So shout out to them tomorrow. Always watch it on replay, Ernestine. It's worth the watch. Ms. Puggy Wuggy had a shortcut punt. Not a punt cut square, but a square cut punt. That's what it was. I loved Captain Kangaroo Leslie. Mrs. Puggy Wuggy had a square cut punt. Not a punt cut square, but a square cut punt. Round in the stern and flat in the back. Mrs. Puggy Wuggy had a square cut punt. I've had a lot of practice. Kim's giving the YouTube account. I've got to move our stuff over. Kim, most of the time we go live on mine. Which is my YouTube channel right now, just because we don't have a lot yet over on 3View Mirror. Gina was, if you guys haven't seen it, do yourselves a favor. I've got it as a, just go back and scroll through YouTube or through Facebook, and when you see Gina and me outside, watch the videos. Racer, buddy. What's going on, brother? Long time no see. Good to see you, my friend. Oh my God, she was absolutely killing me. And there's one more, I think one more of those to come. They're not doing as well as I wanted them to. I'm laughing so hard in those videos. My absolute favorite like moment and comment that I get is that people say they haven't laughed that hard since they were kids. No, that's not $2. Racer is an awesome contributor to the page. Everyone is. I just really appreciate it. And he doesn't like when I talk about it, so I want to leave it at that. Well, she might. I don't know her. Would I allow my daughter to work part-time when she turns 16? My oldest daughter was allowed to work at 14. Started serving, bussing tables at 14. Not only will my younger daughter be allowed to do that next year, I'm going to force her to do that at 14. Not a lot, just a few hours over the summer and maybe a little bit after school. I learned a lot working as a kid. I was very shy as a kid. Working as a server at my parents' diner, really young, and then my parents forced me to work for someone else at 14 because that it was important that I work for someone not family at 14. And it literally helped me develop into the person I am because I had to learn how to speak to adults. I had to learn how to deal with disgruntled customers or guests. I had to learn how to problem solve. I had to learn how to deal with something when somebody else didn't show up. And it taught me, well, gee, when I choose not to show up, this is how it impacts other people. Bernadine says, I watched all 3 videos, hadn't laughed that hard in a long time. Dude, I was dying in the video, barely able to breathe. And the same thing happened when I was editing it. I just love laughing like that. Just checking in. Is this still live? Yeah, Carla's still live. I see you, and it is live. Did I ever use close enough on my kids? So what Kevin's talking about is I grew up where my parents' motto when I was growing up, I grew up in a close enough world. Katie, all the videos are right here on YouTube. If you just scroll to my shorts, Tay Trav, thank you so much. The word okay is just a stick figure laying on its back. There now I wrecked your perceptions. Where was I? Damn you, dude. Yeah, close enough was the way I grew up. I'd ask for one thing, my parents would give me another. And I was to be grateful that I got what I didn't ask for because it should have been close enough. If I asked for a CB ski jacket, that was $100. Back in 1987, my parents went to Jamesway or Ames, which were stores that make Walmart look like, you know, some high-end department store. They got me the knockoff, and it was close enough. And by close enough, it was BC instead of CB. Did I do that to my kids? No. I either could afford what they asked for, or I was cognizant of enough and as a parent to go another way entirely. Wirehead, $100 back then was ridiculously expensive. But here's the deal. What would have made more sense, instead of getting me the knockoff, I didn't want the knockoff. I was better off just wearing a jean jacket with a hoodie underneath it because it was still cool. There was nothing wrong with not wearing the CB jacket. There was something wrong with trying to wear something that kind of looked like the CB jacket. I call it the J.C. Penney Hunt Club syndrome. Everybody wanted a polo shirt when I was in high school. They wanted the $80 button down with the little polo logo. What they didn't want was the J.C. Penney Hunt Club knockoff that also had a little polo rider on here, but it wasn't polo. Levi's jean jacket under my leather coat was my regular. No, take care, Bill. Good seeing you, buddy. My regular was absolutely the Levi jacket with the hoodie underneath, the zip-up hoodie underneath. I had a members only jacket, two of them, maroon and then later blue. I still have a blue one that I got at Goodwill not too long ago. Monkey Wards, Montgomery Wards. Is this a BMX bike? Close enough. There's a whole line of it. I became a Star Trek fan because Linda, thank you for the $2. I watched the videos on a loop because of the reaction. Just made me so happy. There's another one coming. They're not getting huge exposure, but they make me happy. And the people that are seeing them, it's making them happy. So that's the whole point. Yeah, so I became a Trekkie because I asked my mother for a Luke Skywalker. It was the tall action figure that came with the grappling hook. And I got a Captain Kirk. I became a Cubs fan because I asked for Bill's logoed stuff. And my mom got me the Cubs logoed stuff because of the color. So they're accidental things that really brought me to wonderful happiness. I love the Cubs. I love being a Cubs fan. Never would have happened if my mom didn't find the Cubs stuff on clearance and figured it was close enough. I love Star Trek. Might never have happened if my mom didn't confuse Captain Kirk for Luke Skywalker. Star Trek, Star Wars, same thing, close enough. It's my mother talking. My mom bought me a Battlestar Galactica t-shirt when I started my period. Well, that sounds like an awesome mom. Who remembers Miller's Outposts? I don't. I would never have had a leather jacket. I would like to have a leather jacket. Never had one. I started working for a clothing store. They're also closing the alphabet. That's true. I started working for a clothing store warehouse. And that's where I got a lot of my stuff eventually. I just started working for my own clothes, and then it was done. Mom didn't have to get me anything. Who had Bobos? Does anybody even know what Bobos are? Remember when the wrestling shoes and straight leg jeans were a thing? I never had wrestling shoes. Saved up a year to buy my first leather jacket. Saved up a long time for my first bomber jacket. I'd like to have that back. Never been able to find one quite like it. Renee says, I had Bobos. Jillian says she remembers Bobos. Bobos, they make your feet fine. Bobos, they make your feet fine. Bobos, they cost $1.99. So yeah, Bobos were just like cheap ass knockoff sneakers that my mom would buy out of the Bino shoes at the end of the supermarket aisle. They were like $1.99, $3 sneakers made of like plastic leather, pleather. They kind of from a distance looked like maybe you were wearing Adidas. They often had like the stripes, but there were 4 of them instead of 3. For some people, they were called play sneakers or play shoes. Other people, they were their shoes. That's okay. We make lamb. Bobo isn't the guy on Finding Bigfoot. I don't know, but we definitely called cheap ass sneakers, knockoff sneakers, Bobos. I got mine at Bob's Big M Supermarket in Wolcott, New York. They made your feet smell like tired rubber. Kids today don't want to crease their sneakers. They don't bend their foot because it'll leave ours would crack. If you had Bobos on and you bent your foot, it cracked, not creased. Bin O shoes. That's what it was. And they would tie the laces of the shoes together. So when you grabbed one sneaker, the other one came up with it. So you didn't have to go digging for it. The pleather did flake off. Dude, these are such good memories, though. And it didn't matter if you were rich or poor, city or country. And there weren't that many of us that were rich. How many people were rich in the 70s? I honestly don't know of many. Um, Everybody lived within their means back then. There wasn't really credit. Credit cards came a little later. Um, Maybe it should have stayed that way. I don't know. Kalina says I was dirt poor. It's just, yeah, you got to think kangaroos with a pocket. That's where I kept my key to the house. I had to wear special shoes because I was pigeon-toed. Oh, Kristen, that sounds awful. Not the pigeon-toed, but the special shoes. Buddies, they make your feet feel fine. Buddies, they cost $1.99. We were far from rich. My dad worked for the province. Layaway. Yes, Melissa. When parents wanted to buy us something, but it took time. We were very middle class. Manuel, thank you for following. Jason, thank you for sharing the stream. Joseph, thank you for following. Vern, thank you for the stars. Caught up there. It's just that's if you I've talked about it before. You want to know what the 70s looked like, look at the TV shows. One Life to Live. No, I'm sorry. One Day at a Time. Alice, Sanford and Son, Chico and the Man, Good Times, What's Happening, All in the Family. Could probably go on and on and on. Everybody was just okay financially. All of those shows, people were either living in the projects or living in, at best, middle class homes, living day to day. That's what it was. That's what the 70s was. If you want your kids to know what it looked like, all you have to do is show them television. The only shows that had any amount of like richness in the 70s, maybe the Jeffersons. Yeah, Welcome Back Kotter, Projects, kids of every denomination, different rates, sitting in that classroom, one next to the other. Just very middle class, like I said, at best. Sarah Bumgardner over on Facebook. If you guys ever get to Fort Mill, South Carolina, Indian Land, South Carolina, thanks a lot, Matt. I really appreciate seeing you, buddy. Sarah works over at the Hickory Tavern with me. She's there most afternoons. And she sometimes comes out for my Tuesday night trivia. You coming out this Tuesday night, Sarah? Yeah, Sanford and Sons literally lived in a junkyard. Poverty class. We say poverty, but I'll bet you money every one of those fictitious families struggling to, yeah, that came in the 80s. So the 80s we saw Dallas, Falcon Crest, rich shows. But every single family, fictitious family we saw in the 70s, there was no credit card debt back then. So compare them with families today carrying debt. They probably were net better off than families are today because they were forced to live within their means. You're working Tuesday night? Tell me you're working Tuesday night. I don't believe you. If Sarah Bumgardner is working Tuesday night during my Tuesday night trivia, and you guys are anywhere near the Charlotte area, come out and see us. Come. Oh, just during the day. All right. I thought I'll convince you to stick around. But yeah, every Tuesday, if you guys are traveling anywhere near Charlotte, you're going to be anywhere near there, stop out and see me. Hickory Tavern, Indian Land, South Carolina. I do in person a Tuesday night trivia, all Gen X era trivia. Come by and see me or watch it live on YouTube. That's fun too, I guess. But more fun in person, I guess. Maybe not. Coupon clipping. My mom was a queen of coupon clipping. Who remembers green stamps? Is anybody old enough that they remember green stamps? I don't. I'll be right honest. I'll say it off the get-go. It's something people ask me about. We didn't really have them in my town. Welfare cheese was the best, says Keith. We referred to it as government cheese. Thank you, Sarah. Love you, my friend. Yeah, government cheese was everywhere. So in the late 70s, I think it was, Carter started a program to help the dairy farmers, and the government bought a huge amount of surplus cheese to help subsidize the government. So we got government cheese, and you would literally take your little tray at school through the lunch line and could grab as much cheese as your tiny little heart desired. And it was literally chunks of cheese at the end of the lunch line. Oh man, I love that memory. I'm watching Love Boat. It's so nostalgic. Sarah, do you remember government cheese? Dude, literally just blocks and blocks of it at the end of the aisle. It's like you'd go at the end and like you're only allowed one milk. You're only allowed one ice cream sandwich. You're only allowed one piece of pizza. But government cheese, just help yourself. Canned meat too. Credit cards are actually better security for internet purposes, without a doubt, Kevin. But it really falls in on, can you pay it off in full every month? And a lot. Listen, and for emergencies, we do what we do when we can. Sharp cheddar, yeah, it was. I've gotten into a substantial amount of credit card debt over my lifetime. Shit happens. Paid it off, tried again, didn't pay some off, made arrangements, figured it out. Do the story of the vigilante killings in the subway that happened in the late 70s. I remember Bernie Getz. That's the only subway vigilante I remember. That was 80s, though. We had the penny saver in our town, John. Don't even try making a grilled cheese sandwich with government cheese. No, government cheese didn't melt. Really, Amy? I don't think I could have melted the government cheese we got with the surface of the sun. Never watched MASH. I'm going to have to try to watch it now. MASH was one of those shows that my parents didn't watch, so we didn't watch it. One TV, I was at the mercy of my parents. If it got late and I didn't like what my parents were watching, well, I sat quietly. Hey, Carter, what's going on, brother? If I didn't like what my parents had on the TV, we had two choices. Sit there quietly, very quietly, and shut up, or go to our room where there was nothing to do. So we sat quietly. Bonjour. I see somebody coming over from France. Cheese was bulletproof. I remember the Guardian Angels in New York City. Do I remember powdered milk? I remember that it existed, Carlos. I never really had some. Yeah, and we just lost Loretta Swift last week. My favorite TV show is $6 Million Man. Definitely one of my favorites. I just restarted watching that entire series, and Bionic Woman, for that matter. You can see Steve's feet right there, $6 Million Man toy, on YouTube anyway. R.I.P. Hot Lips. How's YouTube's picture? All better now? Haven't seen a complaint in a bit. My eyes are looking kind of blue on my side. That's the third most asked question. Do I use a filter for the eyes? It is blurry. Damn it. I was hoping it was clear. Extremely blurry, no less. I wonder if I got out and came back in, if it would help, but I don't know. I'm 8-bit over on YouTube. Did I watch Emergency when I was really little, Anne-Marie? That's when I kind of remember the beginning of it, like the way it started, but I don't remember any of the episodes. Kind of like beer goggles. James says their government cheese made the best grilled cheese. That's crazy. Ours was rough. Losing George. George was tough. It's where we're heading, guys. But people say our memories are dying. We're losing our memories. Every week another memory dies. I don't subscribe to that theory. Our memories are how we continue to remember them. Like a LPEG over a 1200 baud modem. Like a JPEG, I think you were trying to write. Never rode on a bike? Still don't know how to ride a bike? And secondly, do you remember the TV show on Saturday morning called Kids Are People Too? I do. I remember the theme song too. Kids. I'm baby do. Watching Back to the Future on the CW right now will always be the WB to me, Robin. Night, Doreen. I'm getting ready to sign off as well. I'll be honest, my round number thing that I've stretched today out because I was hoping for another $2.36 to get me to an even 100. I'll give it to somebody if they give it back. YouTube's clear now, there, because we talked about it. Let's do an eye shot then. $2.36. Yes, I'm literally begging. Rob. Appreciate you, buddy. Zoom, zoom, zoom after Electric Company. One of my favorite shows. I liked Zoom, but 3-2-1 Contact will always be like my favorite. Oh, now I'm way over, Jacqueline. Thank you, but show. Oh my gosh, way over. Now we're at 104. Dude, I said 236. All right, guys, I love you all so much. And I don't mean that, Donna. Oh, Donna, thank you so much for the stars on Facebook too. I don't mean that in a superficial creator, loving people they've never met kind of way. I mean that as in your bikes are in my front yard and we're playing in the back kind of way. I love that you guys are here every single week. I love that you support the page, share. I have literally over 2 million followers cross-platform, but there's about 200 of you, maybe even less, that are the heart and soul of this community. You guys are there. I don't know what you get out of it, but I know what you put into it, and I cannot thank you guys enough. You've changed my life. It continues to change. There are things going on that if they come to fruition are going to be really kind of cool for all of us. For me specifically, it's me doing it. But the things I'm going to be able to share with you guys and just remind the world that Gen X isn't going anywhere. Funky Bottoms, Norm, we're not going anywhere. We're still the best, coolest generation. We're the best kept secret this world has ever seen. And I am not even close to being done talking about what we are, what we do, what we've done, and what we represent. And I promise you, we can make this world a lot more like the one we grew up loving. We don't need to want to go back. We need to change things. And I truly, truly believe we really can. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And we'll do it together, one at a time. Other younger people like you, 44 Vern, absolutely, especially on YouTube. I have a huge amount of 35 to 45-year-olds following there. Facebook tends to be a little older. But I know for a fact we can bring back the abs for the win. Thank you, Linda, Duncan. We can make these years the best years too, because we remember what it was like and we know how to lead the way. The best of what we had and learned. Appreciate that, guys. All right. I love you guys. I will see those of you who follow the 3-View Mirror tomorrow night at 9 p.m. over on YouTube. We'll smoke a cig in your honor. Appreciate it. And then Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, YouTube for the live trivia event. Love you guys. See you at 3-View Mirror tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern, over on my YouTube page. Be good, guys. Ending there. And ending here. Glad to caught you, buddy. See ya.